Okay, so this is a video on how I prepare my Papercraft models for use on a silhouette Cameo. What I do first is, after I've sort of unfolded and sort of aligned all my pieces, I organize each page by color. So you'll see it's page 1's all red, these are all green sheets, and these are yellow sheets. And the reason why I do that is because I don't print out textures. So let me show you. Whenever I print out my sheets, I don't print any sort of details. The reason I do that is so that I don't need to deal with any alignment, because aligning stuff on the Cameo is really annoying and not worth your time. You're better off just printing off block pages of ink and then adding on textures later on. So what we're doing is, you've got this made in Pepakura Designer, then you save it and you open up the same file in this piece of software, and this isn't the normal Pepakura Viewer. This is Pepakura Viewer for Silhouette Cameo, and you need to pay for it. It's quite cheap, and it will transform your files for use into Silhouette Cameo. So you open it in this file, and you click this export Dxf file for Silhouette Cameo. So usually what I do, I've already done it, but I'll create a new folder anyway. I make a new folder called Cameo inside the Papercraft folder. So I'll just call this Cameo 2. And that'll chuck everything into a file that my Silhouette Studio can pick up. I'll open up Silhouette Studio, which is a free software. I find the file, Cactus, or in Cameo 2, and everything shows up in this sort of like Dxf style. And then I just open up these files. I've got them all in A3 because I work in A3, but your ones will be in A4 probably. I've got a big A3 printer and everything. So the next thing I do is I just delete these alignment lines because I'm not using them. And I'll go through each page. I won't do that, I'll just focus on one page today. So let's focus on this page. Then the next thing I do is I press edit, then I press S for select by color. I select my blue color and I change that to a dashed line. So what that's done is, all my blue lines are all my mountain folds. So if we look here, if we change it to the fold mode, so all my mountain folds are now dashed lines, and all my valley folds are now straight lines. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cut out the grey lines and score the red and blue lines. And that means when I'm working with my Papercraft, I know by feel if what I've got is a valley fold or if it's a mountain fold. So the next thing I do is I press send, and I press line, and I change this action to score. I change the blue line to score because these are my fold lines, and my grey line is going to be cut. Now I'm going to show you my actual physical Cameo setup here. because it's a little bit different than to what most people have. Let me make my camera a little bit bigger. Fit to screen. So I've got, I'm giving everyone motion sickness here. Here's my Cameo, and I've got two blades. I've got an auto blade, but this can just be any sort of blunt blade. The reason I've got an auto blade here, that's the blade my machine came with, and I've used it so much it's become blunt. And I've got a sharp manual blade, a ratchet blade, and this is the main blade I use for cutting. And I replace this blade very often. You might see it looks a bit different. This is because it's an off-brand blade. So what I do is, instead of using the official Silhouette Cameo blades, I buy this off-brand one, and it's really cheap. I'll show you how it works. So instead of replacing the entire casing every single time, which is not very eco-friendly and not very cheap, I just replace the tip of the blade every single time. And it comes in packets like these, and it means I've always got a really sharp blade for cutting. Like the price for 15 blades is like the price for one of these units. And the reason I'm showing you that is because when we come to the software, what I'm going to do is the score lines, I'm going to be using the left blunt blade, and for the cut lines I'm going to be using this blue blade, the sharper one. So if you, it says tool number, the red is the left blade and the blue is the right blade. So when it comes to, as you can see, it has changed to a ratchet blade, and these are auto blades. My settings that I use for scoring is I put the force to the lowest possible, and I put the speed to as high as possible, because I don't care if there's tiny mistakes with scoring, and so many score lines to do. Trying to score out all these dashed lines takes a lot of time. If you can't be bothered waiting for all the dashed lines, just keep the dashed lines as full lines. I'll do the same here. This is another score line, so I'll put this all the way down, put this all the way up, and this I don't touch it at all. I like it to have a low speed, because having a mess up with the cutting blade is quite annoying. So I want the blade to take its time, and there's no dashed lines, so it doesn't need to be very fast. Your Silhouette Studio might look a bit different to mine, because I don't update my Silhouette Studio. I would advise you not to update yours as well, because every time I update Silhouette Studio, there's like a whole new bunch of bugs to deal with. If you figured out how to use your Silhouette Studio, don't upgrade it. It's not worth it. You know, these guys are terrible at making software. Once you've learned how to use it, don't update it anymore. That's my advice. Excuse me, Windows. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn on my machine, and I'm going to show you how, what's it called, my paper comes out and how I work the paper. I'm just going to try to find a good angle for my camera. I'll try to see if I've got a box to stand this on. There we go. I'm going to load this up, align it to the left, and press load. I'm using a Cameo 3. That's why I've got the auto blade. I don't know anything about the number 4, I don't know anything about any other machines, but I've simplified everything so that you can use this procedure on most of your machines. I'm going to take out most of these parts so that we can get a nice quick cut, so you don't have to wait and watch me cut 100 different pieces. So I'm going to press select all of these and delete, select about all of these, delete, and I'm going to press send. So my machine is doing lots of like small presses, and the reason it's doing that is because it's doing all the dashed lines. Then later on it'll just do full lines and you'll start to see things speed up. I'll show you how to set, or I'll show you how I set my ratchet blade to the right, what's it called? To the right lengths. Okay, so that's that done. I'm gonna unload it, and here's how my pieces come off. I use whatever off-brand ink I can find as well. You should never be paying for HP or Epson ink. It's way too expensive. Buy off-brand blades, buy off-brand ink. And this piece, kind of comes off quite cleanly. And there. So I've got all these dashed lines. And then this is not a dashed line, so I know this is a varifold. And then I just make my whole Papercraft that way. For my cutting mat, this is an A3 mat. What I've done is I've taken the normal Silhouette Cameo mat, which is about this size, and I've just added on like another piece of plastic. I bought this from like a stationery shop or whatever. You can get like A4 pieces of plastic, or if you've got like a plastic folder, any sort of material. And I've glued this onto the back, and I just applied spray adhesive. I make sure I mask off. I use masking tape on the sides here, and then I just spray adhesive. Now to show you the blade, this is my ratchet blade. I'll try to get it on the white background. Okay. it away. I don't know if you can see. Let me try focusing the camera myself. But my blade, come on camera, focus. It's focusing on my face. I'll focus it manually. My blade barely sticks out. That's how much it sticks out. You can see it there. Then just grab that blade and I'll chuck it in my machine. I chuck it in so that the point of the blade, like the point of the blade and the point of the blade goes on the left, and like the blade will come up at an angle like that, so the pointy bit will be in the left side and the angle will be in the right side. I found that works best. Let's chuck it in and lock it in place, and that's me. So that's the way I use my machine. It's a very easy way of doing stuff, and if you've got any more questions, ask me in Discord or give me a comment in my YouTube, and I'll try to answer them and see what we can do. Catch you around.